There is now so much going on in the world of silver. There's so much you could focus on. There's so many details, the margin hikes, the manipulation, the short position, the amount of paper and digital promises of silver that's been sold, the increased industrial use in all applications. There's so much you could focus on. And I think these AI videos with the Asian guy might not be all correct, but from what I can see, what I've seen is correct. And he's spot on point. Whoever's behind them all, it's probably a few different entities, but there's a lot of good information. Now you could focus on all those things. Wow, this is interesting. Wow, look at they're desperate to raise margin hikes. They're doing all these things. I think go up in the air another 28,000 feet and look at the big picture. You don't need to focus on all the short-term noise. The big picture is very, very simple. Go back 100 years to 1925, 1926. Most of the big bank vaults around the world and the big bullion vaults were about half full of gold and half full of silver. Roughly 50% silver, 50% gold. Over the next 100 years, the silver has been in deficit and the gold has been in surplus. And this has got progressively worse. Back in the time of the First World War, it wasn't that much industrial use, silver. Second World War, it really picked up a lot. And then 1950s, 60s, it really drastically increased. And then in our day, the 1990s, the 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, the amount of silver used in industrial applications is skyrocketed. There's more patents found for new uses of silver in industry than all other metals combined. This is why the big picture is all the bullion vaults around the world that were used to be full up of 50% gold, 50% silver, have slowly been getting drained. It was a slow draining 100 years ago, about the time of the First World War, the Second World War, and then since the 50s, the draining, the deficit increased with the increased use of industrial applications, and now we're really in an electronics age with very advanced electronics. It's really increased. So what am I talking about? There's a deficit in silver. We're talking about more silver is in demand than in supply. Gold is the opposite. Gold, there is far more supply than in demand. Far more. So gold is building up and up and up every year. Silver is getting drained from the vaults every year. And they're going to try and say, oh, they're different. No. Gold is meant to be put in the vault. Silver's just an industrial thing. That's what they try to say. No. They're both the same. Gold and silver. They are money. They are the monetary precious metals. They're both industrial metals. And they're both money. But gold is hardly ever used in industry where it's not recovered. It's pretty much always recovered because it is economic to do so. It's nearly $5,000 per ounce. It is economic to go through landfill and get gold back from industrial uses. Silver is still under $100. It is not economic to get silver back from industrial applications. It is just trashed away and ends up on landfill or spread out all over the earth somewhere. It is gone. There's a deficit of silver. Up until the 1950s, you didn't really notice it much, that deficit. The space that used to be filled up with silver in all the vaults has been emptied. And that space now, this gold's in surplus. So where they put it, oh, there's space over here. Yeah, there used to be silver there. They didn't really notice it. And then they've put all the silver in that, all the gold where the silver used to be. The 80s and 90s, you really noticed it. And then in the year 2000s, the amount of industrial applications has increased to such an extent. Everyone noticed it now. And silver should have gone up in price. But there's something called the Silver Users Association. Has any other element on the periodic table got a users association? Is there a plastic users association? Is there an aluminium users association? Is there a wax users association? No, there isn't. But this silver users association realized that silver is such a indispensable, amazing element. Let's all get together with the bankers, governments, politicians, bankers. They conspire to commit these crimes and manipulate the price of silver down so that we can have cheap cell phones, cheap laptops, cheap kitchen appliances, cheap data centers, cheap EVs, so they can use it in military and just trash it all away. And then that space now has really gone down. The 50% of these vaults used to be filled up with silver has pretty much all gone. 2026, it's nearly all gone. There's hardly any left. Just at a time when demand is going up even more. And the Silver Users Association and several other institutes like the CPM Group, Jeffrey Christian of the CPM Group, Silver Survey, Metals Focus, they have to lie about the official demand. If you ask how much silver is in demand every year, you'll see the lies that they put out. They are lies to mislead investors, to turn people away from investing in silver. It's a very serious crime to put lies out there to mislead investors. They say the deficit's only a couple 100 million ounces. That is a lie. It's way more than that. Supply of silver is about 800 and something million ounces. That's how much the mines produce every year. That is falling every year. It used to be over 1 billion, went down to 0.9 of a billion. Now it's about 0.84 of a billion. Soon it will be 0.79 of a billion. And it is falling. That is supply coming in. Demand is going up. Just as supply is falling, demand is going up as AI data centers, solar panels, nuclear control rods, aerospace, robotics, military, laptops, cell phones, electronic appliances are using more and more silver every year. That is demand. I'd say, my estimations, my analysis, that all the official figures are wrong by a factor of about half. And I'd say true demand every year is about 2 billion ounces. It's probably over 2 billion ounces if we knew about all the secret classified military projects that are using a lot of silver, which we don't know about. It's just an estimate based on my analysis. We know that demand is about 0.8 billion ounces. Sorry, that's supply. Supply is about 0.8 billion ounces. Demand is, I'd say, over 2 billion ounces. So there's a deficit. Where's that 1.2 billion ounces of silver going to come from? Well, in the past, it's always just been draining out of the vaults. The vaults have been slowly getting drained. We've now got a point where they've all the silver's gone. Pretty much all of it's gone. There's only a very small amount left. And that space is full up with even more gold. Gold is overflowing. The space that used to hold silver is now the silver's been emptied to feed the deficit, and gold is put in its place. And still, gold's in surplus every year. More and more gold, 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 gold. We need to build another big vault. You look, if you could search this yourself, how many huge gold vaults have been built in the last decade, and how many are in the works now to hold this overflow of all this surplus gold? They're building massive new vaults because they don't know where to put all this gold. It's just so overflowing everywhere. Why is gold priced more than silver? Why? When there's a surplus every year of gold and silver's in deficit. That should be the other way around. It should be you need 2 ounces of gold to be valued the same as 1 of silver, because silver has much greater demand than gold and much less supply. So that's the big picture. I watch all the AI videos and I keep on top of what's happening with all the criminal bankers. I think it's fascinating how this manipulation is coming to an end. Every time people go long silver, which means they're investing, they're thinking that the price will go up, the big banks have to short into the rise. They have to, which means they're selling silver they haven't got to a very large degree. They're selling a lot of silver they haven't got. And they've been doing this in many different ways. Paper and digital promises of silver, ETFs, pooled accounts, silver investment accounts, the Perth Mint, bullion by post, bullion vault. They've all got these options where someone goes to buy silver. I want to buy silver. Oh, it's all out of stock, out of stock. And if you try now, you'll find most places out of stock, awaiting stock. It's very hard for you to buy silver. They're all saying out of stock, awaiting stock. Everybody's desperate. There's a mad frenzy to buy silver. It's very hard to get any, of any quantity. You might be able to here 1 or 2 ounces here or there. But large amounts, people want to put millions or hundreds of millions into silver. It's very hard to get any. But when it comes to small people like us trying to buy it, there's an option there. It says out of stock, waiting stock. But there's an option where you can buy it and it remains in their vault, they say. So they tell us, which is a lie. and they'll give you this paper or digital promise. Now, they've been doing that for decades with tens or even hundreds of millions of ounces, billions of ounces have been sold into the future that they haven't got. The Perth Mint's doing it with something called a pooled account. Invest in silver now. A lot of people and hedge funds, big institutions, think they've been buying silver, and they think the Perth Mint has been storing it in their vault and they get this paper and digital receipt for it. That is a lie. The Perth Mint and others, I'm just using them as an example, many other mints, many other institutions, bullion vaults, they have been selling silver certificates, silver future promises at much lower prices, $20, $30, $40 an ounce. And they take in this investment funds from the hedge funds, they take in all those millions of dollars, or pounds, euros, yen, whatever currency, and they issue them a promise for future delivery of silver. They haven't got that silver. Now they're in a real dangerous situation. The price is nearly $100 per ounce for silver, and they owe all this silver. And they have got to go to those vaults that have been emptied of silver. There's none left. It's all gone. It's all just full up with gold. And they say, oh, I've promised this much silver, I need to buy it. I know the price is $100, but I need to buy it. And they say, well, we've got none left. What can I do? I've got all this silver that people who I owe silver to. And we're talking to the tune of billions of ounces. Just at a time when there's a mad frenzy rush to buy silver. There are billionaires now. One notable one is David Bateman, the Dark Knight of silver. He's a Bruce Wayne type character. He's a tech billionaire. And he's a bit like Bruce Wayne because Christian Bale, who played Batman in the 3 Batman movies, The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rising, he also played, was it Patrick Bateman in American Psycho? And this guy's real name, the billionaire who's buying silver in a big way, his name is David Bateman, the Dark Knight of silver. And he literally is buying billions of ounces of silver, and he's not stopped. He started buying at much lower prices, so he's done incredibly well. Amazing. And he's buying physical, taking it out of the vaults. He's getting it from somewhere. I don't know where he's buying the last of it. And he said he's not stopping. He bought another load at 70, and even after it goes over $100 per ounce, he is not stopping. He's going to carry on buying silver. Where's it going to come from? All the vaults are empty now. They're only full of gold. He doesn't want gold. Nobody wants gold. I don't want gold. I want silver. The big investment hedge funds, they say, I want like 10% allocation or 20% even, very aggressive. Some of them are saying 30% of my entire portfolio I want to put into silver. And sure, you can get paper or digital receipt of it as much as you like. But no, they're starting to see the game now. They need real. They have to go on a waiting list for real. Just at the same time, when all these industrial applications, governments, and just at the same time when China has today, it's January the 1st today, 2026, China has said there's an export ban. No silver will leave China. Any silver that comes in, it's a non-escape trap. Any silver that comes in, it can't go out unless it's special permission. If you're selling jewellery, earrings, watch straps or something like that, you might be able to get special permission to let it exit the country. But generally speaking, no silver will be allowed out of China. America will probably do the same sort of thing soon. They're saying it's a strategic, critical resource that they're running out of. Russia's instead, they're going to be buying just at a time when we've got all this geopolitical tensions around the world in the Middle East, China, Taiwan, Venezuela, and now Europe, NATO, Ukraine. And just at a time when silver's getting very desperate, the Middle East is buying. That's what happened in the 70s bull run. Silver went up to about 400 ounces of silver could buy an amazing house in London, New York or Tokyo. 400 or 500 ounces. And they said you can't buy silver. In the Middle East, the Arab billionaires, they were all trying to buy silver. That's happening again now, but this time around it's on steroids. So the short-term noise is interesting about all these margin calls and all the manipulation. I watched the AI videos, Asian guy. I can see everything. It's true. There must be some things that are not quite true, but can't be right about everything. But he's pretty much right about everything I've seen. It's all short-term noise. The big picture is the bullion vaults used to be full up of about half gold and silver. Now all the silver has gone. That space has been full up with even more gold. And it's so much so that the gold is overflowing. They're building new huge vaults to hold all the overflow of the excess gold that is in surplus every year. And they don't want gold. Gold won't do the job. Gold will not satisfy the industrial demand. Silver is such a critical resource. It's a magic miracle metal. The properties of silver are incredible. As a catalyst, it only has to be silver ethylene oxide, that's just one example. Silver is the best electrical conductor of any element on the periodic table. It's the best thermal conductivity of any element on the periodic table. It's the best light reflectivity. It's got the best reflectivity of any element on the periodic table. It's things like the acoustic, sound, vibration, frequency. There's a lot of technologies now using that. They need silver. It's the best of any element on the periodic table. These are just some examples of the incredible properties of silver. Gold won't do it. Copper won't do it. It has to be silver. And then it's the most antibacterial element, antifungal, antiviral, anti-parasite, anti-bugs. It will kill superbugs. The antibiotic-resistant superbugs that synthetic penicillin antibiotics will not kill. Silver can kill these things. Silver wicks away sweat in your clothing. I'm in training right now. I do laps around the field with a dog with a big heavy backpack, and I get hot, sweaty. It's good to have breathable Gore-Tex clothing and things, but as well as that, you want silver-lined thermal clothing. It wicks away sweat, kills bacteria, stops odors. Silver's the most incredible miracle metal. I'm going to finish this video with a friend of mine, the late Gary Yantis, who worked for the Atomic Energy Commission in America. He was an incredible engineer, and his specialty was silver. He said they used to do incredible experiments, the American military projects with silver, things that they'd lift it up and drop it from a height and shoot it with radiation, shoot it with lasers, do all these things. It's the most incredible metal. When it comes to anything nuclear, they need silver. The control rods of any nuclear reactor has to be silver to absorb the radiation. After 5 years, they get so high level radioactive waste, they have to just discard it with a high level nuclear waste. You never get that back. Not for, I don't know, thousands of years, something like that, I don't know. No technology that can clean the radiation from high level nuclear waste. And silver is the most incredible material. It is running out. I predict a time when they will say, why didn't anybody see this coming? We've run out of silver. Why didn't anybody see this coming? We did see it coming. And those of us who, with any sense, are continuing to take silver out of available supply. It can't be paper or digital promise of silver. It has to be real silver. And if you're watching this video now, don't be thinking, oh, it's all-time highs. I can't buy something at all-time highs. Let me tell you, this is nothing yet. Silver will soon be hundreds of dollars per ounce, then it will be thousands of dollars per ounce. And then you'll see the mad rush of investors trying to come in to buy it. Keep taking silver out of available supply. Check it to make sure it's real. Keep buying silver. Keep taking silver out of available supply.